You're listening to a special edition of the Court of Public Opinion. You can also hear me at 103.3 FM and 1370 AM, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm just going to give you my rebuttal right into this point because after reading some of the posts and comments and threads, and I like to think that all of us, while we can reserve the right to be cautious in how we voice our opinion, unfortunately, I've come across some things that I just cannot just not say something to someone who might need to hear it, or maybe you can relate to this point. I have to admit, though, when I hear women talk about women in the most vicious way, and you don't even have to say anything, just the attitude, the opinions, and I'm focusing on women because you know what, the women's vote, while women want to go on and on about what Donald Trump did, what these women don't understand is his comments, that's one thing. But in the bigger scheme, the bigger picture, what America is facing is what Germany is facing right now, what Norway and parts of the world right now where there's such an Islamic infiltration. You want to tell me that that is going to go well in America? Because I want you to be prepared. Because if you don't vote for Trump, here's what you get to look forward to. You don't know at any point any soft target would be attacked. I'm talking to you as a female soldier. I served in uniform and operational security, all the things that you do as a soldier. This is what you get to wait. This is what you're going to wake up to. You can almost guarantee with the influx of migration of immigrants that have you don't know where they're from. How do you know that they're not IS? How do you know they're not Islamic terrorists? How do you know they're not here to behead you? How do you know that? So I want to respond to these women that attacked me for just simply posting vote for Trump. Because if this was just about Trump's character, I probably wouldn't. I could see sitting out if this was not but there's a bigger thing going on here in America. And I'm going to tell you some personal points to this because I think it's very important. What would you do if somebody kicks your door in and you're the only one at home? You're a single mom with 3 kids. Would you really, really stand back and allow your children to be raped? Or much worse, your children watch you to be raped? And we're not just talking rape. We're talking about gang rape. Really. I'm talking you real. See, you couldn't even imagine that violence. But this is the violence that's going on in parts of the world. So while you sit back there comfortable in your home right now, think this can't happen to you, you got another thing coming. God forbid, there isn't going to be a police officer. They're probably going to be tending to other acts of violence. I guarantee you this. This is the danger women face. When I'm listening and reading these comments, how they called me crazy, and just for simply posting a comment, I have to respond. I have to. Because I want to tell you guys the truth about what it is to have gone through this and not share what's really going on. If I hadn't walked in on a pedophile at 14 years old, maybe I wouldn't even be talking about this. If that guy wasn't charged with 11 accounts of molesting children and I didn't walk in at the right time at the right place, maybe I wouldn't be able to share this point. If I didn't have lived through situations where I know how dangerous it is to be bullied, I wouldn't be here telling you this. If I told you I hadn't seen or dealt with children that were rape victims, I wouldn't be able to make this point. If I hadn't served in uniform, I wouldn't be able to make this point. If I hadn't worked with the military JAG as a secretary, I really wouldn't have a point to make here. If I hadn't served in uniform as a female soldier to tell you this, I really wouldn't be in a position to say any of the things. But because I have, I'm making my point, and I'm going to make it very clear. This is what you get to wait for. If you don't have the ability to do anything, one thing you do is you have the ability to vote. Now, hey, you know what? You make a personal choice. What you vote for is going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference in your kid's life. I realize that a woman, it's the idea of a woman running for president. This is not about that. Right now, what is happening on the world stage, it's imperative you understand this is not about a woman running for president. Set aside what Hillary has done. Let's just put it to this. Right now, this is what we are on the cusp of violence that is unheard of. And let me say this. Depends on what you think. You could be gay, you could be any of those things, but I'm going to tell you there's video after video of gay men and women, mostly gay men, I'm sorry to say that, but this is the truth, being thrown off of buildings in Mosul and parts of the Islamic world for being gay. This is not, this is what frightens me. People want to make this about Christians, but I'm going to tell you this is not always just about Christians. There's just a group of Americans out there that would rather toe the party lines and split the parties in half, and they want to disparage other people in comments and the threads. And I have to tell you, we have to hold a standard. At some point, I have to be able to respond to this, and the only way I'm going to be able to respond to it, and in this context, do it this way. If you do vote, just understand your choices, because the reality of your vote, I realize the president's not going to be the one that's going to do all the legwork. It's usually when a president's elected, they're going to be elected to designate that certain people to do certain things, and then initially in the cabinet. And you know what Barack has offered? You know what Barack has offered? He's offered everything but that. You know, the security in America is so desperate. You can drive down to your street here in this neighborhood where I live. There's traffic. It's so dangerous to drive in the traffic over the summer that it was better to just stay home. That's how dangerous it was getting. I mean, some of the things that are going on internally in our infrastructure, you're looking at a man. Forget the things he said, because I know he meant what he meant when he apologized. And the apology is accepted. You know why? Because I could have easily gone the direction that most women went in. I really could have. I actually considered it. But here's the thing. If my vote matters and your vote matters, I'd rather pull for the people than be on this fence. I was talking to my my adopted dad. He's a Christian. He didn't know whether to vote for Trump. And I told him this is why I would vote for Trump. Because I support the people. I support Americans who want to keep what they have. And they're right now, people have shaken at night. I can remember night after night in 2010, just shaking at night, trying to imagine what it was like in a world where this is our reality. And if I hadn't had the night terrors, in my dreams, I saw things that I thought, there's no possible way this could happen in America. But when we watched and witnessed what happened in 2001, which no matter what people say, whether it was an inside job or not, the reality is we knew real terrorism. We watched real people jump out of those buildings. There's nothing can change those images. We saw what we saw. And then we saw al-Zarqawi. We never heard about beheadings before. We saw beheadings for the first time on live TV. And it's a reality. And that's the way it is. And if you think you're going to go along to get along, you think you can rat people out, that's your personal business. Because if you are comfortable with the idea that you're going to be a rat and you're going to rat people out, and that's eventually what you're going to end up doing. Eventually, once they get done cleaning up what they wouldn't need to clean up, getting rid of the people, eventually it comes back to you. Then you don't stand a chance to survive it. At some point, they think you think if you throw somebody under the bus, it's not going to come back to haunt you or bite you back, and it does. It always does. A lot of times what people don't understand, the risk you take for telling the truth, the risk for telling it like it is. See, I know most women, we're not talking about a one-night stand. We're not talking about just casual sex. We're talking about epic gang rape. There's a difference. Violence is unthinkable. You really can't even imagine why so many situations, how desperate it can get. We saw the images on TV. We've seen a lot of things, but what we don't know is we've never witnessed that kind of thing. And if we've done anything right so far, is that so far it hasn't gotten that far to the point that it is in some other countries. And there are more Trump supporters in Germany and in parts of the world where they face it every day. They face violence. They can't even open up a ski resort in Germany. That's how bad the violence is. And it's all due to this, quote, immigration policy. So it doesn't necessarily matter what they think in opinion. The reality is the Islamic world will not eventually work with Hillary. It's just the God's honest truth. It doesn't matter how powerful she is. At the end of the day, they want her to go down. They want Hillary to go down. They do. And I don't know that I want to trust the safety and security of America in the hands of a tyrannical group, or whether it be IS, small groups of the Wasabi, when they say the Wasabi terrorist network. We don't have to know all the things we know to know that in a situation, what options do Americans have? It's unthinkable to build a wall. Heck, there are other countries that have better security and walls. Yeah, I walk down my street. We have safety and security. We have a police presence. But what happens in a situation when you have violence that is unstoppable? Where you've never seen that happen. It's not impossible, because you could look at other parts of the world where it's broken out and it's not just sporadic. So, but what my point is that you can go down any highway throughout America. You can see massive buildings being built. When I think about Donald Trump, he thinks bigger than most of us. He's built skyscrapers, so he's not thinking small projects. He's thinking big walls, big this, big that. And to us average people, we don't think along those lines. We're limited to the point where we think about these small things, like just getting our dishes done, just getting average things done. Most of us who are average lives. But one thing he keys on, and what makes him such a dynamic person, is because he is not the kind of person that's going to belittle you for having a viewpoint. He allows people to express their views. He's very confident, and this is what you want in a leader who won't attack you for disagreeing. If you approach somebody and you disagree with somebody and you take approach to a topic and you're like, listen, I'm not trying to attack you. I want to present this in a way that I want you to understand, because I care about you. I care about what happens to us. I care about what happens around me. And you take that approach, of course, you're going to get a better response. But what was happening and what led me to the point, and I'm going to wrap it up here because I know I only have a few more minutes here to make the point I need to make. The attacks that just because I disagreed. I mean, what is that about? You're never a Trumper? Have you ever wore a uniform? Do you even know what you're talking about? Have you ever been exposed to violence like this? I mean, I just think the lack of respect that others people have for one another is sad. And it's bullying, goes to a degree. Maybe it's not bullying, but there's no room for it. These are adults. These are adults. These are adults. And they thrive off of gossip. They thrive off attacking other people. And I wonder what happens to these people after they're done attacking. That's their idea of feeling good? That's how it is? Is that what it's come to? Because if that's what it comes down to, you're way beyond me. Because I have to hold back. I have to restrain myself from saying things. It would have been very easy to respond back and attack back. You know that? And you know what? It doesn't serve me anything. It doesn't serve a good purpose. I mean, I simply posted something, and it's just a microcosm of what's happening in America. But someday, at some point, if this is unavoidable, thank God. Thank God that nothing happened. But if it is, do you really want to be the one to be on the other side of this, because I don't know that a lot of people are. You're going to be, and believe me, you're going to be desperate. If you're looking for help, it's not going to be there. So my concern is, and I hope I addressed it by saying this, good luck. Please vote.